before I get complaints about being unprofessional again. Okay, guys, so in terms of the background information, we ultimately aiming for that single summative report. So ICE tasks, I will load. The ICE tasks have already been done. I must just load them. I just forgot to do that really, but it's been a mess because I haven't had all the courses appear my side as well. It is about really getting to grips with research, but it's also doing basic field research. So we'll spend a bit of time on the field research, but your primary relationship with this is with the pod leader. But you come to me for theory. The way we do this is we integrate your topics and your titles with what I do here. And then obviously you have the pod leaders as well. You'll see how it goes. Yeah, the only thing that last year caused real headaches for us is people using AI, and in using AI, we had a lot of people fail initially. Guys, I know people say about ethically using AI and rubbish like that. Just
Sir,
remember, the moment you copy from an AI generated thing into your work, that is not your own work. So please stay away from it. Write your own stuff. This is your study. I know that AI is there, and I'll show you how to use AI and what we can use it for. But please, the moment you copy something out of one of these open source things and copy it into your own submission, that to me is cheating, and we don't want to go through those
sir.
processes again. Yeah,
So I've got two
Ron,
things.
go.
So for number
Yeah.
one, for those people who don't have a research topic, I actually was thinking about something really funny when I posted Tide Pods in in the chat, because there was a whole controversy about the Tide Pod challenge. But that's one thing somebody can
Okay.
do, is maybe look at how do certain businesses in a certain sector, how do the businesses collectively handle controversy in their business? Like if there's a controversial
Okay.
thing with the PR damage, how what's the process that a company would take to stop, let's say, now a rogue executive or a rogue employee? That would be a very interesting thing to research. And
That is very cool. Yeah.
yes, and then number two, is I used to one of the ways I found out how to paraphrase brilliantly is actually, you copy this stuff into like the AI chat, whatever, chat GPT, and then they paraphrase it, and then you go and you chop the whole thing up and re-paraphrase what they said. It comes out into something entirely new, and it actually works rather well.
As long as you don't copy out of
No, no, don't
and
believe
submit
me.
what you've
I don't
copied,
know, no,
Rowan,
no ways, no.
that is an issue that
Can't
I
you
would
can't
have.
do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, some people do struggle with paraphrasing. I mean, like it was one
I'm
of the
quite
things
happy
I
for you to do that. You're most
concentrated.
welcome to use it.
I concentrated
Yeah.
very much on paraphrasing second and third year and getting it right, because
Yeah.
like we were all most of us were trying to outdo each other in terms of so when you submit an assignment or something, you want to get as small as a match as possible.
But remember, I don't care about the percentages, guys. Please remember, in any of my classes, I couldn't give two flying hoots about the percentage, because really and truly the measure of plagiarism in this system is not an accurate tool. So don't worry about percentages. I'll mark 50, 60, 70% as long as it's your own work. It's not a sharp instrument. So please don't worry. I see people rewrite to try and get it below 25%. I couldn't care about the 25%. Rowan, please don't do that. Hey, I don't care about that percentage. As long as you've not copied, I don't care. But yeah, no, but you're right. We don't have to. There are people were marking, I don't know, silly things based on that silly 25%. I don't care about the 25%. Yeah. But yeah, that's an interesting one, dealing with conflict and people causing problems. Okay, guys, so in terms of your first submission, and this is where we'll start, and we'll go through the entire process. My apologies. Sorry about that, guys. So please see all these guidelines. That to me is essential that we focus on it. I'm going to start with this. I just want to make this slightly smaller so it all fits in. Right. So in terms of what the first submission is about, we start with your introduction. You'll see that it's quite a large number of marks that's been allocated to it. Please make sure that in terms of your introduction, and this is completely essential, when we look at research that gets published, research shows us that on average, whatever research gets published will be started again at least 10 times. So people rewrite the introductions because the introductions are essential. So just to give you an example, if I had to do research and I want all of us to be this focused and I want our introductions to be really, really impressive. When I found out that we went into lockdown during COVID, I went and found REM. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I uploaded that onto my Facebook page because that's the kind of moment I had. Now, if I were to write some research and do research around COVID, I would use that personal experience as my introduction. So when we look at these introductions, we will work on something that grabs the attention initially, that then transitions into your topic and then provides us a roadmap of what you've done in this particular research submission. We'll talk about all of those, but I think for me, the topics are essential. I think one of my favorites ever is I had a student who did research on small coffee shops and how they survive against these bigger sort of coffee shops. And his introduction went roasting the competition. Those were the only words he put as his introduction, and he transitioned from there. So I need us, in terms of this introduction, to have something that pops, something that's interesting, whether it is a profound quote from somebody, whether it's a personal experience, because I think a lot of you selected your topics because of personal experiences. But I need something very impressive at the beginning, and then obviously transitioning into your particular discussion, and then a roadmap of what we're doing firstly, secondly, and thirdly. Now, I'm only looking at excellent, guys. So for me, the essence of this is that an introduction does three things. It grabs my attention, it transitions into the actual topic, it gives me a reason essentially to read the research, and it then tells me what I am going to encounter as I work through it, the roadmap. So please remember about the topic, guys, and then we'll talk about something called a theoretical framework. Now, I think because we are looking at this and limited time, and this is a postgraduate diploma, each of you will be expected to find a single theory that will serve as your theoretical framework. So please stay away from things like Maslow and Hertzberg. That's too entry level. We're not going to accept that. So for me, if you're going to look at technology and the adoption of technology, we'll look at TAM and those kinds of things. So there's going to be a real emphasis on finding a single framework that will act as the blueprint for the rest of your research. Then a literature review, and we'll go through how to read widely, how to summarize, and how then to arrive at themes. One of the biggest challenges we had last year was that students struggled to get to themes. the key thing in terms of this is that your themes will emerge from the literature that you read. And to me, that is important. So you are going to read widely on your particular topic. We'll talk about how to put together the literature review. And then, yeah, we then rate the literature review in terms of building an argument. And then we will talk about your paradigm. Who remembers anything about paradigms from last year? What are the key paradigms? Okay. Remember, your paradigms will either be
I remember
interpretivism,
learning
which
this
will, yeah,
back in
which will result
2019.
in, it's been a while, Rowan,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
been a while. I don't. It's some stuff. Uh, some stuff I remember. Like if I hear the word again, then it's like okay, now I might remember. But like the paradigms, I remember there's three of them, isn't there?
Yeah. There's interpretivism, which will ultimately result in qualitative research. There is positivism, which would be quantitative research. It's about numbers and stats, where interpretivism is about understanding people's perceptions and emotions, etc. We will not allow the third one, which is critical realism. Critical realism will yeah, that's where you have a combination of essentially interpretivism and it's not as simple as that, and positivism. But yeah, when we look at critical realism, the focus is really much about empowering people, and we're not going to allow critical realism. Okay. Yeah, so we won't allow critical realism. So it'll either be interpretivism or positivism. And then, yeah, your sources, guys, we'll talk about how to search for your sources, your writing style, and then this. Remember also, a we have got a writing school or writing support center. So if you need any help with writing, please let us know so we can connect you to those individuals. Okay, so this is the first submission. Now, all of this looks jumbled and it looks messy and it looks scary. The truth is, guys, we will get you to that point. Zotero, please, thoroughly, please use Zotero. For those of you that haven't used Zotero, really and truly get used to using Zotero. Sorry. Thoroughly, I honestly am going to be almost a little bit, yeah, autocratic and say everyone needs to use Zotero. Honestly, it is astonishing. If you don't know how to use Zotero, we'll get somebody to help you with that. Does everyone know what Zotero is? Okay. Yeah, guys, Zotero is an electronic referencing tool. It is better than Mendeley. We will spend a bit of time showing you guys how to use it. I'll try and get the librarian to it's a referencing tool in RT, yeah. And it's astonishing. So no manual referencing. This is not 20, it's not 1924, it's 2024. It makes Mendeley look archaic, Justine. So we'll get everyone to use Zotero. I will make sure that I get some training done for you guys on that. Okay. If not, we'll spend a bit of time in class as well. So there's your first submission. There is your first submission. It's obviously available. I can put this online. I can submit these, put these different submissions online as well. Right. So if we look now at where do we start, and I can promise you there will be points in this research where you will convince yourself you are the dumbest person that has ever walked on this planet. Now, that is natural, it happens all the time. Then you'll start thinking about giving up and not completing. And I promise you, in about 8, 9 weeks, there will be this moment where you will go, this is the best thing that I've ever done. So please remember that. You'll go through these different phases and stages, guys. At some point, you will convince yourself you are the dumbest person that has ever walked this planet. Everyone goes through it. There will be moments where you hate me, you hate yourself, you hate the world. And then there'll be moments where you'll have an aha. And I promise you, in about 9 weeks, you will have the best time ever where you do start doing your own analysis, etc. It's as simple as that, guys. Everyone goes through this. It's a natural thing. It's part of what we do here. So please, please, please remember that. Right. Do I want to show this at this stage? I wonder if I want to show it at this stage. Okay. Okay. Now you'll also see what we do here is I will give you slides that link directly to each submission. So we'll have the overall set of slides, but I will give you slides that link to the different submissions. Now, I know this is a little bit of a shortcut, but we have such a short period of time that I've got to do everything in my power to make sure that you guys are ready. So this is the first set of slides. Those of you that were with me in third year will remember that I do this kind of thing anyway for the different submissions. So this is Remy. I'm going to go through the first submission and we'll spend a bit of time just understanding concepts, etc. My suggestion is that you print out these different submission points, the rubrics, so that you have them open as we go through this stuff. Any questions at this stage? Any questions at this stage before I start? Okay, let's do this, guys. So this is your first submission. So I put this, and I don't know ever where there's a right point and a wrong point to this. Two areas of research that we'll have will be qualitative research and quantitative research. Now, this isn't ideal because this slide requires something extra. Where it says qualitative research, so qualitative research will be the research methodology. That there forms part of the interpretivist paradigm, the interpretivist. And I'm just going to, no, you guys can figure that out, how to spell it. That forms part of the interpretivist paradigm. The reason I put this slide in is that one of the key terms you'll hear us use is golden thread. And when we look at interpretivism, so remember above where it says qualitative there, it should be in the interpretivist paradigm. There, it's the positivist paradigm. Now, if we look at what we have when we look at interpretivism, etc., generally it is about human emotions, understanding perceptions, understanding feelings, understanding people's points of view of the world. In terms of positivism, a positivist believes they can reduce everything to numbers and stats. So it talks about science, it talks about math, it talks about objectivity. In terms of an interpretivist approach, we will talk about subjectivity. Now, if you are going to do positivist, you are good at math, you like math, you love stats. If you are going to do interpretivism, I think it's more about writing and understanding and feeling and emotion. No, Justine, I'm not going to allow both. Remember, both would have fit there under critical realism. So we're not going to allow that. It honestly, there's not enough time to do it. So you have to do either or. And I did say we're not going to allow critical realism. So that is interpretivism. That is obviously positivism. And if we add here, it would obviously be the critical, yeah. And we're not going to do critical theory. Okay, critical realist theory. Right. So in terms of qualitative reason, can I just get a general sense? Who will be doing qualitative versus quantitative? Who is interested? Generally people default to qualitative. Maybe people who are doing quantitative, let me know who will do that quickly. Just keep typing. Okay, Josh, qualitative, Ruan, qualitative, Kateko, quantitative, Joel, okay. Okay, right, Taralee, qualitative, okay, okay, qualitative. Yeah, generally it's majority. Paul, okay, quantitative, okay, qualitative. Generally, hi, Charles, how are you? Qualitative, okay. So what we'll make sure is, I think our pod leaders, some are more inclined towards qualitative and some are more inclined towards quantitative. Either way, we'll connect you with the right people. To be honest with you, I'm comfortable with both. My master's was quantitative, and my PhD was this. So we're fine. So you'll see in terms of the difference here, in terms of these different paradigms, you can see when we look at, for example, qualitative research under interpretivism, we care about words, we care about images, we care about perceptions, we care about objects. So imagine you stand at the side of the road with 10 other people. You watch a major accident happen, cars crash into each other. The reality of qualitative research is that if you had to interview those 10 people, you are likely to get different interpretations. You're likely to get different understandings of the event that took place. So for me, that would be the qualitative part of it. When people who act as accident investigators arrive, they will measure the distance of the skid marks. They will measure what had happened. They will measure the impact, etc. That's the math and science. That's quantitative. That's objective. In terms of perceptions, we know that perceptions are reality. And in terms of perception being reality, is 10 people watching that car accident, depending on their background, depending on experiences, depending on what they've had happen in their life, their interpretations would be very different. Where this would look at numbers and stats and facts. And you can see some of the other elements that form part of that difference. So if we look at the introduction to this paper, for me, an introduction, as I said, grabs someone's attention. Now, if I do this very quickly, and I will share some of these with you guys. Oh, my goodness me. Sorry, I don't want you to see what I'm going to do now. Sorry, I'm just opening a document here. So this is, and I know that I'm supposed to hide names, etc. So when I talk about introductions, what my student did here the last year is he researched whether the future in terms of vehicles was going to be electric or was going to be hydrogen. So if we look at his introduction, now that is quite clever, and I'll explain that in a second. But what he's done is he's taken the doomsday clock and he's given us the time on the doomsday clock in terms of how much longer essentially the planet has. What he did then is he then transitioned into what he was discussing there. And it's quite clever that it says that we're about 7 days, and obviously in terms of global time, that's a lot more, before we reach this deadline. And then he transitions to the climate clock because we can't keep driving petrol vehicles, etc. And he then transitions into what his research is. Now, I'm looking at something like that from you guys as well. I want something that grabs the attention. Now, I love that idea. To me, that is powerful. I also want us to display it like that because it's about grabbing our attention. It's about creating some sort of emotional response. And then the transition into the discussion, and then obviously the roadmap that we have. Any comments about that as an introduction to the research that I mentioned? So you can see the title, Quantitative Research. Okay. This was part of a presentation at our end of year. The National E-Symposium was very, very impressive. Any comments about that introduction? Does it make sense in terms of what I'm saying? Grabbing. Yeah, well, that's what he proved. And it's turned out that people are moving away from electric. That's what the research actually found. It was
So
quite clever.
can I actually tell you something
Yeah,
shocking which happened with regards to electric cars? Ford
yeah.
had to scrap their whole plans for the electric car plant in Canada because nobody was interested really, and they've instead decided to build Ford Super Duty. So it's a Ford F250 to Ford F750 at that plant instead. And Japan is more interested in hydrogen power rather than electric. And I believe that there were some Italians who actually discovered how to use carbon canisters. So essentially, your car, the emissions, diesel or petrol, it'll actually cycle everything through into the canister, and the carbon can be used for industrial purposes. So when you go and fill up your car,
Oh,
if your
it's
canister
a
is full,
wonderful
you
idea.
can just pull. You see, it's like it's, and then there's the problem with having to deal with the industrial runoff of mining lithium and all that kind of stuff for electric vehicles. You can't really, if
Also,
you
what do you
damage the
do
ground
with the
permanently.
batteries?
Yes, the
Yeah.
battery recycling. There's just so much. That's why I say, like the electric cars. When I first saw it, I'm like, this is very controversial.
It was very cool. His research predicted 100% where we are in the world now. Okay, guys, to look at the next one. So this research, oh gosh, and I don't know if my student's name is on there. Sorry about that. Okay, and you'll see it really is about job perceptions during automation, etc., and how it impacts employee job satisfaction. Again, an introduction that I want to show you guys here. And I like the way she did this. She had the main one, transitioned into a topic, and then had a second supporting one, and then took us from there. Oh, Anastasia, oh gosh, no, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know offhand, Anastasia. Just check what the document says. I know that it's not a heck of a lot, okay? I know
Yes,
it's
because
not a
this
heck
one
of
said
a
now
lot.
11,000, so I was just wondering how many were.
Dear Lord, no, man, it's not 11,000. Oh, no, no, don't worry. No, woman, I'm not supposed to create panic now.
Okay.
I didn't realize this. No, don't ignore. Ignore this. Just ignore this. This is another. This is for honors. Okay. Right. Any comments on that one, guys? You're making me panic here, Anastasia. I'm old, remember. I can't panic too much. Any comments about that one? Okay, so grab attention, nice quote, transition into the discussion. This was, yeah, I loved this one. So this was, yeah, you can see here perceptions of adopting mobile wallet payment systems amongst young adults. And, sorry. Okay, and yeah, so MTN tried to do it. MTN tried to do it and it bombed the first time around. And this was a relaunch of something that had failed before. So again, guys, grab the attention. And can I ask that we do it that way? Okay, put it at the top, center it, let it pop in terms of what we see. And then obviously taking it from there. Is it starting to make sense what I mean when I say your introduction has to grab the attention? This was my student from last year. She researched what has happened with accounting clerks is that, or article clerks, is that the way they've been trained and assessed hasn't changed in hundreds of years, and AI is taking over some of their jobs. And she looked at, during an age of AI, what should the accounting clerk model look like? Very, very, very clever, very, very, very clever piece of research as well. So she had a sort of outrageous statement. The days of an accounting clerk are numbered, and then transitioning into it. We know it's dramatic, but the truth is, during times of AI, and then taking us through some of the other elements, guys. Okay. So for me, start thinking about that introduction, guys. For me, it's that grab the attention. Okay. I will share some of these documents at some point so that you have something to work from. Okay. We will share these documents. I'll upload them again onto VC Learn. Sorry, where is that? Okay. So to carry on from where I was, is that it? Yeah. So the introduction, interest, grab interest, yeah, and then it starts talking about the problem. The one thing you'll hear me say quite often here, guys, if you don't have a problem to solve, you don't have a reason to do the research. If you don't have something that is an issue, a burning issue, something that causes some sort of deficiency somewhere, you don't have a reason to do the research. So we'll talk about problem statements and all those things a bit later. But please, in terms of the context of your research topic now, start thinking what the problem is that you're trying to research. Because we've got topics now. What is the deficiency? What is the gap in terms of what we want to find out, what we want to find solutions to? So everyone, as you see and go through your topic, please remember, if you do not have a problem, you do not have a reason to do research. So your research is about addressing a particular problem. It's about addressing a particular deficiency. And I think at this stage, when we looked at the topics, all of you had some sort of problem in mind, but you have to clarify what that problem is in your head. Okay, and then it'll take us to scholarly literature. It'll give us context in terms of where we are. And please remember, guys, you are writing to a particular audience. So if you're writing stuff on accountants and new ways of qualifying article clerks, your tone and your approach is very different than writing to a group of psychologists that are finding out information on a particular issue. So remember your audience, remember that you have to get your language right. And then your background. So it starts off by giving us an idea why we should study this and give us evidence. And when I say evidence, guys, I need numbers, I need stats, and I need references. So as you think about your problem, your research problem, start finding evidence to support that research problem. Find evidence in terms of stats and numbers, etc., in terms of that problem. Guys, and then just remember, because it's not been researched before, it doesn't mean that makes it research worthy. We generally could be a so what topic. And then for me, I quite like this idea, is to convince the reader that the reason I'm doing this is essential in dealing with a critical issue, that if I left this alone, there would be real problems within the organization, within the context of a specific industry, essentially. So you want to tell us very, very clearly that this is worth reading, that doing this research was worth it, that we are dealing with critical issues, that had we left these issues alone, they could have erupted into something very serious. So keep thinking in terms of your own topic around those kinds of things. Right. And then we look at our theoretical foundation. Now, those of you that attended the first set of discussions, I don't know what we called it, step-up workshops, orientation, I can't really care either. You will remember that I've already given you theoretical or suggestions of theories that should be in your theoretical framework. Who remembers that I gave them specific theories that will be part of their theoretical framework? So when we discussed and finalized topics, I suggested, I think for most of the people that were there, theories that must form part of their theoretical framework. Okay, Joanne, you've got yours. What was your theory, Joanne? Justine, nice?
It was TAM.
TAM, okay, love it. Justine, what was your theory?
It was TAM as well.
Okay, so obviously in terms of technology adoption, just remember, guys, the TAM is the main one, but there are variations and there are other theories very similar to TAM. So not everyone has to use the same one. Edel, what was yours? Oh, please don't tell me it was TAM as well, because that would
No,
be
no, it was resource
resource-based.
view employee retention
Resource-based.
theory. Yeah.
Oh yes, I love that. I love that. That was resource-based theory or something. The resource-based
retention
view.
theory.
I love that. Cool. Very cool. Anyone else? Okay. And just remember, Josh, you don't have to use AI. Just go into Google and say alternative theories to TAM. Okay, guys? Because we don't want to all use TAM. Anyone else remember? Okay. I'm pretty sure I gave most people. I've never heard of the gender setting theory. Sorry, I'm just checking it here. No, far from, man. That's definitely not to entry level. No, 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 not at all, Enschle. I like that actually. That's pretty cool. Okay. Jeez. I've never heard of it. Okay. Guys, remember, so your topics will determine your theoretical framework. If you don't have a theoretical framework, you really can't continue. Now, the theoretical framework provides the blueprint to the rest of your research. It frames your research. You have to make sure that based on your topic, that you start finding a theory that will support that topic. Okay, so I quite like that one, Enschle. I actually quite like that one. So, guys, look at your topic and find a theory. Now, it can be a theory or a model, but please make sure that it actually is a theory. And again, if you don't have someone, your pod leader will discuss this with you, but I'm also pretty good at this kind of thing. Okay. So your theoretical foundation, and we want one theory, guys. It really is about your thinking in terms of how you plan to attack the topic. Key in terms of that is to look at the concepts, to look at the definitions, to look at the essence of the theory and see how that relates to your research topic. And you can see there, guys, it normally would be something that logically links to your bit of research, but it underpins your research. It provides the blueprint for your research. And again, in terms of Maslow, Herzberg, please don't use those because I do consider those entry-level theories, and we don't want to provide entry-level work. So your theoretical foundation is the first one. We will talk about the layout, guys. I have very, very clear views on what the layout will be. So if I look at those examples I gave you earlier, hold on. So yeah, so he would have definitely used TAM because he looked at it, but let's see what. So he had two theories in terms of his theoretical framework. So the first one, yeah, so he used technology acceptance. And then there was a second theory. Yeah, where is that? He should have done some sort of headings, guys. Yeah, so it's the perceived quality framework was the second theory that my student had used. We'll talk about layout and things like that. Right, so that's one. If we look here, did I now close those theories? Those. Okay, in terms of this one, I honestly can't remember what my student used. So yeah, my student used the general systems theory. She used another one, and Darwin's theory of adaptation. So adaptation, my apologies, I can't even speak. And the reason she used that is she argued that the world had moved on, but the accounting clerk's qualifying process hasn't. And it talks about this being fit for purpose. And her argument in terms of using Darwin's theory was that the current model of accounting was not fit for purpose. And then the other student, my apologies. This student used as part of her theoretical framework. She also used TAM, and she used, yeah, this is an alternative to TAM, guys, the unified theory of acceptance and use of technology. So please make sure that by the time we see each other next week, that you have clarified in your mind the problem that you're trying to solve. Please write it out somewhere. And then that you found at least one of the theories or a theory for your theoretical framework. Is that reasonable to ask, guys? That you clarify and you write down the basics of your research problem, and that you find some sort of theory for your theoretical framework. Is that reasonable to ask? Okay. So guys, and honestly, I get lots of WhatsApps. Oh, can I ask that we put together a WhatsApp group? Did we put together a WhatsApp group for this course? Rowan, don't you want to just share the link for me? Josh, can somebody just share the whatever link to join that WhatsApp group? And can from now on discuss on there. I don't have my phone here, so I can't even get to it. Who set up the WhatsApp group? Anyone recall? Okay. Guys, what I'll try and do is I'll share that as well the moment somebody shares the link with me. I can't, yeah, Mbusa, I don't know how to set up a WhatsApp group, so it definitely wasn't me, but okay, so we just need to get the link to it and we'll find it and we'll discuss on there as we've done in the past with all the other bits that you've done with me. Em, are you here? I thought it was Emma. I think Emma has left us. Em, can you quickly share that with us? Okay, guys, the moment it's shared here, grab from here, and then we'll call it quits. Now, please don't panic. I know that what I've possibly caused at this stage is more panic than anything. I've done this before. I promise you we are going to be fine. I will share these slides with you as well. Just give Emma a chance to upload the WhatsApp group link, and then you guys can obviously join on there. Guys, any questions at this stage? Is anyone panicked senseless at